Hello, welcome to part 1 of our Eddy Basics Guide. Reminder that this is game version 4.2. This first part will be essential tools, which will include essential moves, grabs, punishers, and basic combos. In part 2, we'll talk about common game plan elements and recommend some players to watch, as well as cap it off with a character summary. For beginners, note the resource links in the video description below. I've included several you should check out. Be sure to at least learn notations so that you can follow along easier. With that, let's talk about everyone's favorite Capoeira Master. Handstand and relax are very important for Eddy, especially relax, so we'll save that longer discussion for part 2. We'll also say full crouch and while standing and a bunch of his strings for part 2 as well, so don't worry if you don't see them in this list. Eddy's 1-2 is unfortunately a bit on the weak side. Range on his 1 is pretty bad and his 1-2 is -4, which is worse than normal. You do, however, have a few other options. 1-2 forward will take you to handstand, 1-2-4 does a little flip, which you can also do as just up 4, and from there you can do a high kick or a low kick, and 1-3, a double mid, can go to handstand or relax. 1-3 is very common since it's a natural combo on counter hit, and being a double mid is very nice, but also because it can be tough to punish given the option to do either handstand or relax. The only option more common is probably just his single jab. So not the most oppressive options, but jabs are still always important. Standing 3 is a safe I-18 homing high, big +7 on hit and a counter hit launch. It also has a safe mid-ender that still gives you the counter hit launch, but it is interruptible on block and you'll get floated. Still a very strong homing tool. Standing 4 is a safe I-12 mid poke, basically the generic down forward 4, except his is done as just neutral 4, but that actually makes it easier to use for keep out off a backdash. Nothing fancy, just a really fast, annoying poke. You have two options with forward 2. Forward 2-1 is a safe jab-like combo with a third unsafe knockdown splatting mid-hit for cover, which can be pretty dangerous at the wall, or you have forward 2-3, a high mid that goes to handstand. Forward 2-3 is fairly common if you see your opponent twitch ducking a lot, since that kick is fairly chunky and can help stop people trying to duck after the first hit of your strings. Both of these more or less serve the same purpose of getting you to handstand with decent frames. Forward 3 is -3 on block, +10 or so on hit. Forward 4 back is only -1 and a big +12 on hit. You rarely want to stop at just forward 4, but forward 4 does offer some string cover, all of which can be risky depending on where you stop. However, they add more confusion to Eddy's string game, which is really important. Note that back 1-4 is a mid poke followed by forward 4, back 1 is a safe mid poke, and back 1-4 is a counter hit combo, so something to keep in mind if you like forward 4. Forward 3+4 is a safe I-17 double mid, knockdown on hit, and can hit grounded. You'll see Eddy's try to space this a lot since it launches if just the second hit lands, making it a fairly safe mid launcher. The risk here is that it's very easy to whiff, so be careful with it. Down forward 1 is a safe I-13 mid poke, more or less generic, great frames on hit and block. It does have below average range, but Eddy has both a down forward 1-1, which can be ducked on block of course, and he can go into handstand with down forward 1 forward, so some string options to try to get more value out of it. An important poke string either way. Down forward 2 is a safe I-15 mid counter hit launcher, knockdown on normal hit, which allows a free dash QCF3. If you time it right and they try to get up, it'll launch too. Very useful tool despite some past nerfs. Down forward 3 is an I-15 mid poke that can go to handstand or relax. It's the same little kick as from 1-3. Strictly speaking, it's not safe, but given how fast the interaction is as well as the spacing, it might as well be. Nothing to abuse, but a very easy way to get yourself to handstand or relax. Down forward 4 is an I-18 low, -14 on block and only -1 on hit, but it has really solid range and gives a nasty counter hit knockdown for a free up 3, one of many usable lows for Eddy. Down 3 slide 4 is a chunky I-21 high crushing low, really solid damage, solid tracking and range, only -13 and a nice +3 on hit. Also, I-21 might sound a little slow, but it feels a lot faster than that. If you need to, you can mix it up with down 3 slide 3, which is the same speed for launch. Down 4-3 is an I-15 high crushing low mid counter hit string, -13 but forces crouch, so it can give incredible returns against characters with weak while standing punishment. You'll see down 4 by itself as a poke sometimes, just be careful with it since it's -16 on block and a pretty weak -5 on hit. Down back 2 is an I-18 high crushing low. On paper, it doesn't seem great since it's an awful -18 on block and -7 on hit, but it has absurd range and a second hit launch for cover, which combos if down back 2 hits counter hit. So you'll see Eddy players use this a lot. Down back 3 is an I-23 high crushing low poke. It has a big active window, although at best it's still at least -12 on block, but can be as good as +4 on hit. Speed is definitely the biggest issue, but you have a bunch of string options you can play with. Down back 3-4 is very common since it's a natural combo knockdown splatter. However, all of the other string options have weaknesses in one way or another, but a big thing with Eddy is keeping your opponent on their toes with your string options, so don't limit yourself. Both of these are safe mids and both somewhat on the slow side, but very evasive with good rewards. Down back 1+2 is a straight up launcher, while back 1+2 gives a free QCF3, which can also launch if they get up wrong. Biggest risk is whiffing them since they're terrible on whiff, but otherwise very strong evasive tools. Back 2 is an I-14 elbow with 2 follow-ups, both of which are natural combos. Back 2-4 is your heavy knockdown splatter, but can be ducked. Back 2-3 is a mid-mid poke combo, still does a hefty chunk and is still safe, which is unusual for a mid-ender like that. You also have more cover in back 2-3-3, which ends with a heavy knockdown splatter. Back 2-3 is already +5 on hit, so this gives you even more initiative. Back 2-3-3 is especially scary at the wall since the second hit combos with the third on counter hit. Back 3 is a safe I-13 mid knee poke. Back 3-3 is a very common scary NCC launcher, automatically goes into relax, which at -14 means a lot of characters can float you as a punish, but back 3-3 gains insane value against characters that can't do that. You can also delay it, which gives you back initiative. You also have back 3 forward, which is a quick double mid combo, -14 on block, but because the interaction is so fast, you'll rarely see it properly punished unless you're spamming it. Really good versatile string. Up back 3 is an I-30 mid power crush, very slow but his only power crush from neutral. Good news is that it's minimum +1 on block, so it doubles as a pressure tool, which is really useful on Oki since it hits grounded. Up forward 4 is a safe long range low crushing homing mid, knockdown splat on hit, and the better you space it, the better it is. One of Eddy's best moves that you'll be using a lot. So this is a very safe low crushing mid, fast at I-16-2, forces crouch on block, which makes it even better, but note that there are 2 versions. Up forward 1+2 acts like a more traditional power mid, although the hit animation is a goofy side switch. The up and up back versions don't do that weird animation and instead just give you a normal launch, very similar to an orbital. In exchange for the launch though, you get crappy range. Still a really strong move and great reward if you can place it well. Forward 4-2 is another safe mid homing tool, I-18, so faster than up forward 4 and more consistent on block since it'll almost always be -4. Big +6 on hit and nice damage, has a follow-up hit which is mostly there for cover since you'll get a big chunk of damage if the second hit lands counter hit by itself. But forward 4-2-3 is also a natural combo on counter hit if you're feeling really good about your reads. Forward 4-3 is a long-range mid-wall bouncer that can go to both handstand and relax. Even at close range, the pushback should be enough to avoid most punishes, but the better you space it, the better it is. So a nice little tool to poke from range and play some stance games. Despite having terrible lateral movement, Eddy is the only character that can't sidewalk, for instance. He has a robust set of sidestep tools that he can use for keep out. Sidestep 2 is an I-24 mid, +3 on block, +8 on hit, and a counter hit launch. Sidestep 4 is a double low, same speed as Sidestep 2. It's never a combo, but many players forget to block the second hit. You can go to handstand after or try one of the risky follow-ups, however most Eddys will just use the spacing and safety to set traps. Then you have Sidestep 3+4, a double mid launcher. First hit is very fast at I-13, and because of spacing, despite being -12 on block, it often goes unpunished, assuming your opponent's character can punish it to begin with. It has follow-ups, but like Sidestep 4, they can be risky, so best to stick with just Sidestep 3+4. Regardless, a really good trio of moves. Instead of the generic slash kick, Eddy's running 3 is a low slide, big active window, lots of range, minimum +6 on hit, hits grounded, and will launch on counter hit. Automatically goes to relax, so on block you can be floated for a full juggle, so you have to be careful with how you place it, but still a good move to use on occasion. Eddy's Rage Drive is a double mid with an I-15 start, launches on hit, on block goes to relax at +12, which is really nice. Just make note that the pushback in the open is such that your scary relax low can sometimes whiff. Still a strong tool that doubles as an approach option, which he is limited on. Eddy doesn't have a robust grab game since he only has the normals and 2 1+2 breaks, but he can still make use of them. For one, both of the command grabs are I-11 grabs, which is on the fast side. The half circle forward grab does big damage and can be buffered, and it can side switch on break, as do both of his normal grabs, making them good for positioning purposes. It's not an oppressive grab game or anything, but they're still very useful. He also has crouch grabs if you want to get cheeky. This brings us to the end of part 1. You should now know all the basic tools that you need to get started and play some matches. In part 2, we'll talk more about other aspects of Eddy's game plan to help put it all together. Expect that here in a couple of days. And with that, thanks for checking out this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications here on YouTube so that you get alerted when a new video drops. Twitch and Twitter links are also down below. Lastly, huge thank you to our patrons. The more support we have, the more resources we can devote to channel content. So again, I can't thank everyone enough for considering supporting the Patreon. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.